developer in the technology, Oracle, PLSQL, and shell scripting. We are very much fortunate to have such a wonderful resource person for today's interaction session. So, dear students, you must be very enthusiastic to learn very many things from Mr. Shiva. I'd like to invite our resource person, Mr. Shiva Invala, to take over the session. Thank you. Mr. Shiva, you can take the session.
Jay, a few minutes. We will
Yes,
start
ma'am.
the session soon.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, see. I've seen that one already.
Hi guys, good afternoon.
Good
Hope
afternoon.
you all doing good and you all safe. Uh, so before I start, I would like to know that the students here all from final year or it's from all the departments across the years.
Siva, we have both final year as well as second MCA students and MSc also. Second
Okay,
MSc also.
okay, ma'am. Sure. So guys, I don't have any presentation kind of thing because few things it would be theoretical, it doesn't make any sense to present some kind of presentation and walk you through, guys. uh, Instead of that, what I would like to do is I want to make it as a two-way communication, right? So since you are all passing out in next few months, you might have so many questions, in terms of how your career would be, where you want to move ahead, whether you want to move to IT industry or whether you want to work in any other industry, right? So probably I will give some kind of insight inside the IT industry, and we can take it ahead. How we proceed in between. If you feel like asking something, you can definitely ask your questions, or if you want to know something else apart from the IT industry, or because when it comes to working, any industry will be like same except few rules will be changed here and there, and the work culture. Apart from that, you know the management, or in terms of how you have to perform in the job role that you got, it all will be same, right? So as Jaya said, currently I work for JP Morgan Chase in Bangalore since last 3 years, and right? So before I went into what I do or how IT functions, right? First, I want to tell you what a T-shaped developer is, because you might have heard, some of you might have heard earlier, and some might have not heard earlier, right? So a T-shaped developer is someone who works into development side by side. He looks into business as well. When I say business, right? Uh, let's assume, since we are all science students, science background, right? We know that when something has to be built or something has to be given to a end user, we get some kind of requirements, right? So in the initial stages, something has built from start, we get such kind of requirements. Once that has been deployed to production, or you say it, once it is in place to use day to day, what happens? There might be frequent changes coming into us or there might be something needs to be corrected, modified, right? So when we have to do that, usually organizations will have business analyst who is into like analyzing these requirements and prioritizing what needs to be done and when that needs to be completed, and then that will be passed on to the developer team. But a T-shaped developer involves in that business analysis as well. He can go and check what is required by the business, and he can come up with, okay, this is the requirement from the business, and this is how it has to be developed. And he will help the other developers in the team. So I do both. I mean, I do development and I do the business requirement analysis as well. You know, when we have to grow our career, be it IT or any other industry, we should know that, you know, what's happening behind, like in terms of business, what's exactly happening, right? Having only technical skills might not be useful to us because there might be, you know, lacks of people who are strong in technology. But, you know, the people who knows business along with technological skills are, you know, having much demand in the market. So whatever you do, just try to focus what you are doing, why you are doing. You know, if someone has asked you to do something, just blindly don't go and start doing it. Focus on details, whether it's really required or whether it can be achieved in a different way. And you know, focus on such kind of details and then, you know, start how it can be done. Clear, guys? So let's say, since most of you might want to move into IT industry, so I would give, you know, brief introduction about IT in terms of organizations, like what we do inside the organization. Some of you might have your, you know, siblings, cousins, or, you know, known persons already working in IT. If that's the case, well and good. But if that's not the case, probably what I'm gonna say to you might help you to understand, you know, what happens inside. And obviously, the work culture, the working process, or you know, the clients they handle, and all, it depends on organization to organization, right? So one question to, you know, any of you students, if you can answer, do you know every organization will be a certified level, right? So do you know what are the certified level organizations that you know, or, you know, the certification levels that you know in regards to the organizations? Can anyone answer that? You might have heard CMMI level.
Can anyone interact with him?
No way.
Dear students, can anyone interact with him? Do you know or not? CMMI level companies.
Okay, that's fine. Let me tell you. So based on the organization level, in terms of their head capacity, in terms of their business capacity, in terms of what they involved into, companies will be given different level of levels. You know, uh, it starts from 1 to 5, but usually, you know, being science students or, you know, aspiring a great career, we always start looking from a level 3 company. So if we want to join any companies, our first priority should be level 5 companies. If that's not the case, in some and somehow if we are not able to enter into a level 5 company, we can target for level 4. If that's not the case, we can target for level 3 company. So usually these level 3, 4, 5 companies will be multinational companies, like you know, like TCS, Wipro, Infosys, Capgemini, or CGI. They are all into level 5 companies. And beyond level 5 companies, there will be companies called Six Sigma companies, or there might be companies which doesn't have any kind of leveling. They are called product-based companies. And there are companies like JP Morgan Chase. We are not either a product-based company or a level 5 company. We are a bank. When I say bank, it's unlike the banks that we see, SBI or HDFC. I mean, they do support some kind of savings account, but the business is at a different level. They are mostly into, investment banking. So these are kind of companies that we can aim for any time, right? So how you enter into those companies are like, if we have campus placements, we can attend campus placements, and whatever the company that we get in, we can enter over there. If we don't have any campus placements, we can try off-campus drives through various sites. We can go and directly apply on company portals, or we have some kind of sites like Precious World, ProKerala, or Naukri Monster, where we can upload our resume, and the companies will call us, right? Let's assume you got selected for Infosys. What happens when you enter into Infosys, right? Most of the companies will have some kind of training program once you join their organization. And the training duration varies from company to company. Few organizations will give a couple of weeks, few does for 3 months, few does for a month. It depends on that particular company. So what happens when they train? They will try to train you on various technology like Infosys. In some companies, they will train you on specific technologies based on their, pipeline projects, right? While they train you, they will conduct you exams. You have to clear those exams. Once you clear those exams based on your result, or how you have been assisted during those exams, you will be placed into different projects, right? Usually IT will have various roles, starting from, since we are all science students, we always aspire for, to be a developer. But there are other roles as well. Like, if you know that there will be support roles, there will be testing roles. When I say testing, it will have again manual and automation. There will be business analyst roles. There will be like Scrum Master roles. So various levels will be there. Initially, you will be placed into one of these roles based on your assessed skills during the exam. So once you enter, right, obviously the project structure again varies from organization to organization. But definitely when we start as a fresher, we will have our team leads or some mentor, like the person who is having more experience than us, who will be guiding us, in terms of giving KT a knowledge sharing session, which is like, the work that we do or the projects that we do during college will be completely different than what exactly done in a real world, right? So if you are aware of any repository tools like Git, right? So that's a common tool in the industry now for the code repository. So right from the code repository to the tools that being used in the project will be limited and restricted for that particular project or for that particular organization. So whatever you learn during the college days will help you to kickstart. But once you start with your project or the real world working experience, it all depends on the project that you work for. So one thing you should be keeping in mind, while you enter into the corporate life, you should be confident. In initial stages itself, you have to work on your communication skills, and the major part is your logical thinking, right? When you join somewhere, what they do usually is they check for a basic or strong foundation on the technology that you belongs to. On top of it, they always try to know that or try to assess you how strong you are in problem solving skills, because everyone knows that, you know, if you know how to solve a problem, getting the syntax for that particular technology that you work on, or you know some sample code from the online code basis is not a big deal. But the problem solving skill can't be found in Google, right? So we should work on those skills first. If you have these three skills, you will have a great career ahead. Any questions so far? See, if you don't ask questions, whatever I will say, it will be theory, right? It will be like whatever I have gone through or whatever I have experienced, that I will be able to tell you verbally, but I will not be able to know what you are thinking, because since you are in final year, you might be having so many questions. How to prepare, how the life will be, whether I will be able to perform as per the expectations or not, or whether I will be able to get a job or not. There will be so many questions, right? So it would be good if you can ask any such questions. Any question, guys, or do you want me to proceed? So let me ask you this. How many of you want to join IT industry as soon as you passed out? No one? The silence means no one wants to join IT industry?
Students, you can ask the questions.
No,
Okay,
bro, I
if you
want to
are very
join.
yes, Ajay, you can ask questions.
Yeah, I want to join.
Where do you
Yeah,
want to join? Yes,
yeah. I guess it's Ajay speaking, right? Good, Ajay.
yes.
At least you gave answer. I'm happy to hear that. So tell me, how you wanna go ahead?
First of all, I want to complete my PG. Next, I want to attend interviews.
Right. So when you say first you want to complete your PG, right?
Yes, bro.
So are you working on any kind of technology that you are most interested in?
I think TCS, Wipro, some of the
Mm-hmm. I mean, what technology you learned during the college days now?
Java,
Okay, that's okay. I'm not going to ask you technical questions. So you can say,
and .NET. Now, I'm learning .NET.
okay, okay. So I understand that you were working on you are learning couple of technologies, right? Java and
Yeah.
.NET. So I'll tell you how this works in yeah. Someone else is saying, Urali.
Hello. Yes, sir. Hello.
Urali, tell me
Is it
what.
audible?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir. I'm very interested with blockchain technology. You all know about blockchain technology. It is one of the latest technology and are developing, and it is
Uh-huh.
also decentralized technology.
Right.
So, if I want to join in that particular way, how can I develop the skills for that purpose? In
Okay.
which way I have to go?
Okay.
In which companies are supporting for this technology? So, how can I
Okay.
reach there?
Okay. Let me complete Vijay's question, and then I'll tell you about blockchain.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Thank you, sir.
Right. So, Vijay, right? So you are working, you are learning Java and .NET, right? So how organizations work, right? So when we work in college, we work on everything, right? Right from, writing our application, designing the database, or, what else? Deployment, we might be doing some manual deployment, right? But when we enter into organizations, you have to forget all of those things, right? So if you are feeling that the technology that you learn, you are going to work on that technology for, you know, your lifetime, or the project that you work for will be completely given to you. That's not the case. First thing, right? How it works is every team or every project will have defined roles. Let's say I'm a database developer, right? So my job is to design database in line with what the middle layer or the front end layer is going to save, right? So the middle layer, for middle layer, there will be a team who will be working on constructing only the middle layer. If there is any front end layer, there will be a team who is specifically working on the front end team. There will be a team who is working on only the deployments, and there will be a team who is working completely on the support activity or the maintenance activities, right? So first we should prepare our minds that, okay, if I have to have a longer career, I will be flexible enough to the changes that will be adopted in IT industry, and that I will adopt to myself as well.
Okay, bro.
Because you might have asked to work on any of these areas as per the project demand, right? One way it's good for the developers because they will be able to explore much. Let's say if I'm stick to, the database itself, right? I might miss something. That's why I thought it's better for me to learn business as well. That's how I started to be a T-shape developer, started involving, in business requirements analysis as well, and converting them to the actual development, right? And now I started learning Python because data science is a, booming technology now, because everything is data, right? So whenever you learn something, Vijay, just focus on, you know, expanding your knowledge or thought process into different technology, not only Java.NET. Try to know that how deployment happens, right? You can check for n number of open source cloud tools which will help you in deployment process as well, starting from your jar build to deploy it to some environment. So try to focus on those areas as well, so that it will be easy for you when you step into organization. You don't find it, okay, this I don't know,
Okay.
right? And coming to the blockchain technology, right? Yes, it's emerging technology, but as far as I know, very few companies are actually live with the blockchain technology. It's countable on numbers, not huge. But definitely banks are more focused on blockchain technology because, as the Varla said, right, it's a decentralized thing, right? So it provides you more security because banks all require, the payments or the transactions that involved will be in billions or trillions, right? So it should be secured at most. There shouldn't be a small, uh, not even point chance for the, fraud.
Yes, sir.
But if you have to go to blockchain technology, first thing you have to learn blockchain. Sorry.
Okay, sir, tell me.
Okay. So if
Please
you are
continue, sir.
aspiring to join to blockchain technology, the problem for freshers would be like, these kind of strong technologies, they won't prefer freshers usually
Okay.
Okay.
because it requires so much of business understanding. It requires so much of, you know, strong technology skills,
Okay.
Yes, sir.
right? So they don't prefer freshers usually. What they do usually is in terms of, migrating to such kind of booming technologies or more robust technologies. First, they will try to train the internal employees and then move them to the required projects, or they will try to hire consultants from outside for some part of time, and along with that they do a pair programming with the current employees, and they slowly move towards, removing those consultants, and the company will hold the, the development or the further implementation. So what I would suggest for you to is, if you want to learn, that's completely fine, but you have to wait to get the right opportunity, which I highly doubt. Being a fresher, you will get that. So what
Okay,
I
sir.
suggest is, if you are getting any other opportunity in any other technology from a good company, right?
Yes, sir.
Try to get into that, work there for a year or two, right? In those year or two, don't lose your practice on blockchain, right?
Okay.
And then what you can do is, after getting your 1 or 2 years of experience, you can fake your resume saying that, okay, you have worked on some kind of POC for blockchain, and then you
Yes,
can
sir.
start giving your interviews. This
Okay.
is what usually happens in IT industry because, as I said earlier, when you join a company, it all depends on the project demand. You can't say that, okay, I don't want to work on this technology and I want to work on this technology. They are not going to
Yes, sir.
accept that because it's for the business demand, right? So if you're not flexible enough, or if you're not ready to adopt what's project demanding, they will ask us to leave.
Okay,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So the better way, what people usually do is, they will gain some work experience, and they will fake. I mean, the experience will be same. Let's say you join Infosys and work there for 2 years. So you will show Infosys 2 years experience, but you are not going to show the project that you have worked on. Instead, you will be showing that you have worked on some kind of POC for Infosys on blockchain.
Okay, sir.
And by the time you are strong enough, you will be clearing the interview and you will get into blockchain. Or in fact, it applicable to any other technology.
Sir, for interview purpose also, it is very difficult for freshers. But how can we face that? There are different types of rounds, and we're totally confusing for facing that. I went for companies and I selected
Uh-huh.
for 2 rounds, and third round I failed it.
Uh, See, why they are, scrutinizing so much these days, right? These days the expectations are too high. They are looking for, uh, ready-made people, right?
But everywhere they are seeing only for the experienced person. What about the freshers?
No, 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 that's not the case. Freshers, there will be hiring. See, that's the problem, right? Uh, to be frank, compared to BTechs, we people who complete some MCA or MSc will have lesser opportunities to start with, right?
Which way we can
So,
start, sir?
uh, only way being
If
a
suppose
fresher, we
someone are
have to start
learning
with.
Python, Java,
Uh-huh.
Android applications, someone are starting learning Python, Java, Android applications, and someone are asking Java, we want C++ Java, and what about the others? Some others learning something and some others learning something. So when they're
See,
facing, we
forget
want C.
forget about who is learning what, right? First, we have to decide for ourselves, which technology we are more interested in. First,
Yes,
you
sir.
decide on the technology you have to work on, and then gain a strong knowledge on that. That's first part, right? Once you decide that, make a resume, clearly mention that what technologies you know, right?
Yes.
After that, what we should be doing is we should be clear on let's say few companies. I'm not aware whether some companies are still going for this aptitude test or not, but definitely there will be technical exam, whether it might be an online or whether it might be on paper, right?
Yes, sir.
So you have to prepare for such kind of written tests. How you can prepare for those written tests is, if you Google, you will find n number of typical problems. Try to solve
Yes.
those problems, right? They might not ask you same kind of problem, but when you solve such kind of problems, you will be improving your problem solving skills or your logical thinking,
Yes.
right? When you went to interview, if they ask you to write some program or if they ask you to give some kind of algorithm or steps, you will be in a better position to think what they are asking and how I can achieve that, right? When you attend a interview as a fresher, they don't expect that you know everything. At least they would expect you know the solution that you gonna give is, or it will work. And obviously they will look for alternative solutions as well. It's not like that, okay, I know a solution for a palindrome, and wherever I go I will give only that solution. They don't agree to that. You should be knowing two three alternatives for that particular problem,
Yes, sir. Right. Right.
right? So when you do that, right, try to impress the interviewer with your problem solving skills and logical thinking. Even if you don't know something, don't go blank or don't say that I don't know this. Just try to think, okay, what he's asking and whether I can do that or not. Try to do something. And at the same time, don't try to, uh, don't try to pretend that, you are trying to solve something. If you really want to solve something, try to do that. If you don't want to do that, don't pretend. Because some interviewers will catch you very easily whether you are pretending or whether you know or not, whether you are trying to think and give some solution or not. So be clear with your thoughts.
Yes, sir.
And obviously, once, let's assume if you're not able to clear an interview, don't get disappointed. Just try to recollect what has been asked by the interviewer and try to solve those problems or try to get the answers for those theoretical questions.
Yes, sir. Definitely.
It's all learning, right? if
Yes.
if it's your day, you can crack it. If it's not your day, whatever best you do, sometimes you won't be able to clear it. But what you have to do is don't lose your confidence or hope. I'll give you one example. For me, before joining JP Morgan, I have attended a company which is smaller than JP Morgan. I was not able to clear that interview. I mean, that company is not even on par with JP Morgan, right?
Okay.
But I was able to clear JP Morgan.
With your confidence
Yeah,
and whatever.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So we don't need to think all those. As you said, right? They are asking Python and all. Forget about all those things. What be strong in that technology. And if you are not confident, don't try to attend interview just for the sake. Because what happens, companies like TCS or Infosys, they will have a cooling period. Once you attend, you won't be able to attend for next few months.
Yes,
So why you want to lose a chance? First,
definitely. I don't want to lose.
test yourself, how strong you are, how confident you are, and after that, within 4 to 5 interviews, definitely you will be able to crack one for sure. Or in fact, maybe you can crack all as well.
Yes, sir, definitely. Thank you so much, sir, for solving my problems.
Sure, no problem. Any other questions, guys? You want to know like how, I mean, in terms of environment inside the IT organizations or any other thing that you want to ask?
Students, you can ask the questions, as I said.
Ma'am, so you can also ask if you want to ask something, maybe if something is in your mind.
Yes, yes, sir.
Good
Ma'am,
afternoon, sir.
yes, yes. Someone is asking.
Sir,
Hi, Charishma.
good afternoon, sir. Sir, can you say your experience from starting to the up to here and like up and downs, how you faced your interview?
Okay. Interviews, right? Okay.
Yeah, you
So,
say.
so you guys might have known or might not known, our batch was the first batch for MCA in KVN College, right? So since we were the first batch, there were very, very less, uh, uh, in-campus interviews. I'm not saying it in a negative way because we were the first batch, right? Obviously, the companies or the, whoever wants to offer us a job, they should have that confidence that, okay, this institution can provide best students, right? Which we are doing now. But at that point of time, we were the first batch, right? So we got some companies, right? And I still remember there was one company in Hyderabad. It was a level 3 company. I was able to clear that interview. Uh, I don't remember the name. Okay.
Okay.
So I was the only one who cleared that interview, but I didn't join that company because my aim was to join a level 5 company. So
Okay.
that was happened in 2010 July. I still remember it clearly because you know that's how I started. So 2010 July, I cleared all the interviews and they are okay to offer me. Then I said that imagine being a fresher. I sat in front of the HR and they were offering me around some 15, 16,000. And then they said they will have food coupons and cab service. Then I said that, I want a 3 lakh package because usually level 5 companies will offer you from 3 lakhs per annum.
Okay, sir.
Then the HR answer was, see, you are a fresher and you are asking for 3 lakh package. Usually freshers don't ask or demand for package because it will be decided as per that company standard. Then HR told me that, okay, you being a fresher, this is how much we can give. And then I said, I don't want to join. From that time to my joining to Tech Mahindra, I joined Tech Mahindra in 2011 Feb. From July to Feb, it took almost 6 months for me to crack an interview.
Okay.
So the first thing was there was very few calls for the MCA guys. I have attended TCS, I have attended Infosys, and then I have attended Huawei Technologies. Then I have attended what else? I have attended around Cognizant as well. To attend Cognizant, I've been to Kochi, right? So I have attended around 6 or 7 companies which I was not able to clear, right? So wherever I went for interview, whatever the questions that they have asked, as I said earlier, I used to note down all the questions. I used to recollect all the aptitude questions that has I was not able to answer at that point of time. And after doing that exercise for those 5 6 months, finally I was able to clear interview in Tech Mahindra. Then I got placed in Tech Mahindra. Then I've been moved to Tech Mahindra Pune. Then I got trained over there for a month on different technologies like Java, uh, shell scripting, database, and all. So can you guys imagine? Database was never my cup of coffee. I just used to study it as like I have to clear that exam, right? With that sort of mind, I read database when I was in college. Even when I got trained in Tech Mahindra, at that point of time also it was same. Then after that I got placed into a project, uh, based on the assessment. So I got placed as a developer, right? So I worked in that particular project for a year, and then they have asked me to move to a support role. Then I rejected that support role. Then I have to move out of that project because I don't want to be in support role. I want to continue as developer. Then I said I don't want to be in a support role. Then definitely they have released me from project. Then I was in bench for some time, and then I got into another project, luckily, which is a development project. And then I finished around 3 years in Tech Mahindra. Then I thought that, okay, while we grow along with the technology or, professional career, money also matters, right? So I had to switch to some other company. Then I joined Infosys. Same again. Between Techem and Infosys, I mean, I didn't attend much of interviews. I remember I attended Capgemini. First interview I couldn't clear. Second interview I was able to clear. I got offer, and then I got Infosys. Then obviously Infosys is better than Capgemini. Then I joined Infosys. Then I worked some time in Infosys, but it's a maintenance project. So I couldn't find it, much of interesting or challenging. Then I thought, okay, let's switch again. Then after that, I got offer from TCS. Then I got offer from Cinecron. If you ever heard, it's a kind of level 5 and somewhat product development involved. And then I got offered from Genpact. I got 4 or 5 offers before I joining TCS, but I choose TCS because it's a level 5 companies. As I said, right, my priority was always to join a much bigger organization. Then I joined TCS. So for TCS, I work for Barclays. Again, Barclays is a bank. So when I joined TCS and working with Barclays, then I started developing interest in banks because banks are huge in terms of challenging work, or in terms of what they offer you, or in terms of the work culture and all. I started developing that interest, and then I started giving interviews because I tried for Barclays because at that particular point of time, Barclays got a new uh, rule that the migration from the client employee to the on roll for Barclays has been stopped at that particular point of time. So again, I had to try outside. And as I said, I was not able to clear an interview in the company, which is lower than JP Morgan, but I was able to clear the JP Morgan Chase in 2017 May. And then I have moved from Pune to Bangalore. So in my JP Morgan interview, I guess I have cleared 5 rounds of interviews, right? So initial 2 interviews was kind of okay. I mean, not too much tough, but as the rounds proceeded, it was much tougher. But as per my experience from the interview process, what I observed is the persons who was taking my interview, they were trying to analyze my problem solving skills or logical skills, how I gonna apply if I have given a real-time world example or real-time problem, how I am approaching towards that problem. That's what they have assessed in me. In fact, that I will do if someone asks me to take some interview. Even I do the same thing. I just check how flexible they are with their problem solving skills, because technical things and all, they should be there, but you should be strong in your problem solving skills.
Thank you, sir.
No problem. See, that's what, as I said earlier, right? So you should be flexible enough. If you're not flexible enough, I told you, right? I was not flexible enough. I was not ready to take a support role. Then I was released from the project, right? But I was sure that, what I want to do in my career. Why I said that is, few people, might be thinking that, okay, let it be, whatever comes in our way, we will work it and, we'll take our career ahead, right? So we should be clear on thoughts, what we want to achieve, where we want to proceed ahead, and accordingly, you should be smart enough to understand what's happening around you, be it technology, be it the expectation from the organization, or be it the expectations from your leads or managers. Any other question from anyone?
Good afternoon, sir.
Hi.
Sir, after joining, do we have to keep learning and other languages?
Not all other languages, right? But we should be keep learning. That's for sure, right? Usually, what happens, right? When you join any project, they will have a plan how that application is going to be working next few years, right? Few projects, let's assume you joined any maintenance project, right? That maintenance project might go on, like, it will have only that life. Like, the enhancements will keep on coming, or you will be able, or you might be able to, fix the any issues raised by business. So you will be restricted to that particular technology in that particular project, right? If you find that the technology that you are working on, or the project that you are working on, you are flexible enough, and then you have enough learning there, that's well and good. Let's assume if you find that that's not challenging for you, or that's not giving you more opportunities to grow further, then definitely what you should be doing, or how you should be thinking is, let's say you are a Java developer and you are working on core Java, right? You don't have any framework, or you don't have any services, or you don't have any API related programming. A plain core Java where you have only classes written and then you are doing some kind of uh, data dumping into the table, and then that maintenance activity continues. Obviously, that will not have any uh, growth in future, right? So what you should be thinking is, you should be thinking that, okay, my next step would be like, I should be learning a framework, right? Let's say Spring, right? So these days, Monato Spring Boot is highly used in organizations. So you should be thinking that, okay, I'll learn a framework. Or you can think that, okay, I'm not interested in framework. Maybe I'm more interested in microservices. Then you should start learning those microservices or, the framework. That's how you have to take your career ahead. Let's assume you are already working on microservices or you are already working on any of the framework, right? So you should be thinking next level that, okay, how I can convert this into the next level of technology. Maybe you can think of Spark, right? Or most of the organizations will have message queues or messaging systems, right? So the trending messaging system is Kafka. So you can think that, okay, now I'm good at microservices. Now let me extend my hands into Kafka messaging, or let me extend my hands into Spark. Does that make sense, Supraja?
Sir, thank you so much, sir.
Sir, good morning, sir.
Hi, Ramakrishna.
Sir, I want one question to ask to you.
Mm-hmm.
Sir, present situation, two fields are mostly running, like government jobs and private jobs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, which field I want to go, sir, for the future, in your opinion?
I mean, it's not my opinion, right? See, I might suggest you to go for a government job, right?
Oh,
But
okay, sir.
end of the day, you are the one who is going to live at that position. So instead of suggesting you which field you should go, I would suggest that, you decide on yourself which field I should go. Make a note, okay, if I go to government job, what are the growth options I can see, or what are the downsides that a government job will have? It's not like that government job will have everything on a positive note. It might have some negative notes as well, right? So same way, take some points on private job as well, and see, you know, what are the positive sides and what are the downsides there. Accordingly, you can think. And the key point, how you can choose is like, end of the day, you should be happy in what you are doing, right? You shouldn't be regretting that, I shouldn't have done this. So whatever field will put you into that situation, end of the day, okay, whatever I am doing, forget about the earning and all. Whatever the job put you in a situation, you are happy in terms of your career, in terms of your personal life, choose that kind of career. It's not like that, okay, your career is good and your personal life is not good. You work for 12 hours in office and came back home, and then you shout on your parents or siblings. That shouldn't be the case, right? So you analyze which field you can handle better and choose that field.
Okay, sir. Sir, are you satisfied your field?
Yeah, I'm pretty much happy with whatever I'm doing.
Okay, sir.
See, since I'm into IT, I can tell you the downsides of IT, or upsides of IT, right? If you join any premier organizations, right, like JP Morgan or Morgan Stanley or PayPal or Amazon or GE or Walmart, right? You will get, huge money compared to other companies. They will offer you good money or huge money, right? So that's your financial side. You will see good amount of money, right? In line with that, your work pressure will be there. If you take me, my role, I work on different things. I do development, I work on business requirement analysis. I do support in sense, not typical support. Uh, it's a level 3 support. What happens, we will have our dedicated support team who will be monitoring the production systems continuously. They will try to look for, if some issue raised, they will try to look from their side. If they are not able to understand something, if they require help from our developer, they will raise to us, and then we have to dig further why that issue has happened, whether that can be a one-time issue or can be fixed, or it requires a code change or something like that, right? So I do all of those things, right? Since I have 9 years of experience, I feel I got enough knowledge in database now. That's why I started learning Python, because Python, you know, is a booming technology. Forget about booming technology. Uh, it gives easiness to interact with your data very easily, right? The data that you can process using Python is very faster, and when it combines with data science with for other language like R, or if we incorporate any kind of artificial intelligence to it, it will do wonders. So I thought, let me learn Python, and then I'll club my database skills with Python.
Sir,
Yeah, Manasa.
sir, good afternoon, sir.
Good
Sir,
afternoon.
thank you for this session, sir. Today interaction class.
Mm-hmm.
Sir, I have question. Sir, you
Mm-hmm.
said in your career you
Mm-hmm.
attend less interviews. You get job in second interview. So like that we want. I will also attend less interviews, but I want to get job, sir. Sir,
Mm-hmm.
suppose in in IT companies they will ask questions, sir. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
so. Um, Sir, based on sir, what we will give our resume based on that they will ask questions. Sir. So, suppose example, I know I mentioned in my resume Java, Python like that. They will ask,
Mm-hmm.
but what type of questions they will ask, sir?
Um, let's say there are two ways, right? So being a fresher, your interview will be different, and being an experienced person, your interview will be different.
Okay,
Okay.
sir.
So when you attend as a fresher, right, they will try to assess you based on your resume. So whatever you mention on your resume, they will try to assess you.
Sir,
But
if I want to get a job,
mhm.
what type of language I should aware, sir?
See,
Sina, ಮತ್ತೊಬ್ಬರಿ ಜಾಬ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ
sorry.
That
Hello.
was a disturbance. That was a disturbance.
Okay. See, even if you know C++, that's also fine, right? All the interviews, what they look at is whatever you put on your resume, whether you are strong or not. But if we have to adapt to the industry growth, definitely Java, right? Every industry or most of the projects still runs on Java. So I would suggest, be strong on Java.
Okay, sir.
Put mention that in your resume and prepare well in Java. So if you are able to answer well in Java, it will make your step easy into getting a job. But once you enter job, as I said earlier, don't expect that you will get a chance to work on Java. It's just
Okay, sir.
it will just help you to get a job, but after that, it completely depends on what the project demands at that particular point of time. If you're lucky enough, you will get a job in Java, at least for the institutions like us. But when the hiring happens from a premier institutions, they will hire for specific technologies, and they will be getting the project on that specific language. But when they do group hiring, they will take you, and then after that, whatever demand is there, they will put you into that particular project.
Okay, sir. Sir,
And once you
in
Hmm.
interview, what type of questions they will ask, sir? Basics or brief or what type, sir?
Definitely they will ask you basics, right? In terms of syntaxes, in terms of definitions, in terms of features, in terms of advantages and disadvantages. On top of it, definitely they will ask you technical questions in terms of programming.
Okay, sir. Sir, what should I must learn in interview, sir? What is the most important thing I should know for
Uh-huh.
I am going to interview, sir?
Confidence.
Okay, sir.
First, you should be confident enough to face the interview, because usually what happens, be it fresher or a experienced person, right? When we attend interview, being a human being, we will have that tendency that okay, we have to crack this interview. Let's assume if we are attending for a bigger organization, that nervousness or the intention to get that particular job will be high, right? So we have to keep ourselves calm in that note. Okay, I will attend, I'll give my best. If something goes well, that's well and good. If something not goes well, you know I will take it as a learning. So be confident on that note, and uh, be confident while attending the interview. And as I said earlier, don't pretend if you don't know something, right? So whatever you know, try to give that answer uh, very confidently, and try to elaborate as much as you can. Or the another technique will be, sometimes what happens if someone asks you some question, right?
Yes, sir.
Something can't be achieved directly,
Yes, sir.
right? So usually what we do is we say that okay, it's not achievable, right? Then
Yes, sir.
definitely interviewer will ask us, okay, is there any alternative or a hack that we can do that we can achieve that in a different way, right?
Yes,
Then we
sir.
will be able to answer that. That's one way of interview. And
Okay,
few
sir.
people, what does is, they know that that feature can be achieved, and immediately the person will answer that this is not achievable, but I can do it in a different way.
Okay, sir.
So you have to choose the first way.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Why? Because when you say directly no, the interviewer will come to a stage that okay, let me check whether this person knows beyond this or not. When he asks that question, and if you are able to answer, he will feel that okay, this person know beyond, right? In second case, what happens if you answer like I don't I mean, this is not achievable and I can do it in a different way, right? The person will know that okay, this might be something theoretically he or she knows. Let me ask for other, let me dig for other. We don't have to give that kind of scope to interviewer. We should bring interviewer into the things that we know.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, thank you, sir.
So, if we are developing any mobile application, then after some time we have to update that mobile application, whether it is a cross-platform mobile application or it is in progressive web app. When we are updating an application, is it necessary to change every line, or suppose in my mobile phone one application is there, we are updating that application.
Okay.
When the time of updating, we have to, when the time of updating the application, how to update the certain part of that application, sir?
Okay. See what happens in real time world. right? Forget about mobile application update or any other update. When we talk about update, it applicable to everything, right? In real time, the application will be divided into modules, right? Entire thing won't be at a single place. So each of the functionality will have its own module, right? So what they do is usually, this is called, decoupling. This is to achieve when something goes wrong, it shouldn't be affecting, any of the existing functionality, right? So usually what they do is, let's assume let's say the mobile updates that we usually see, right? You know, most frequent updates that we see is bug fixes in terms of security patches or some kind of UI changes, right? So let's assume security patches. In terms of security patches, they will go and do the changes in the module that handles the security checks, and on top of it, the entire application will be built again, because whatever the existing functionality is there, that should be part of your build along with the security checks that has been changed. So the particular module will be changed and the entire application will be built again, and the corresponding you say APK file or jar file or whatever the deployable file will be published. Let's assume if something changing in terms of UI, how it looks or how the navigation works, in those cases the entire application requires changes, because UI will have references in various modules. So this is one kind of upgrade, and the other type of upgrade is like, switching the application to a new technology or new framework, or let's say the external references used by the current version might be getting changed. Let's assume you are using an external version of 2.0, right? Now you are upgrading it to 3.4 external reference application, right? So obviously, wherever you have referenced that, the syntax might have changed, or the way it has been implemented needs a change, right? So it goes till the extent wherever it has been referenced. So it's a case-to-case base. What is getting changed, why it is getting changed, and how it will impact the modules involved in that particular application. Does that answer your question, Mohan?
Sir, in our application we have SQLite database for mobile storage issues, and
okay,
and we have server.
Okay.
If we are updating only the module of SQLite database, does it affects to UI part and server part?
Again, let's say if you are doing something internally to database, let's say you have a stored proc which does some kind of business processing.
Yes.
If it is restricted to that stored procedure, it won't impact your UI. Let's assume you are returning something to your UI out of that business processing. Let's say you are returning some kind of string data now. Going forward, that string data is changed to some numerical data, right? Then definitely your UI should inline with what has been changed in your database. Mohan, clear?
Thank you. Sir, when we are developing an application, at the time of deploying the application, what kind of issues we will face?
suppose we included Google Cloud database, I mean Firestore database, we have to pay some money. Not that type of issues, sir. I'm asking what type of issues we will face when we are deploying an application.
The most common issues that we come across is environmental issues. Usually what happens, in real-time world, we will have different environments starting from your dev, SIT, UAT, and then prod parallel and prod. Okay, so this is the hierarchy. We start with dev, and then we promote to SIT, then we promote to UAT, then we promote to prod parallel, and then finally it goes to production. What happens usually, the infrastructure in each of the environment might be different. So that's the first place where we see our deployment failures, right? Sometimes what happens, the environments might be out of sync. Let's assume you deployed a version in dev today, and somehow you skipped deploying the same version in SIT, but you have promoted to UAT. Next day you came, and then you got another version, you deployed in dev, and then you deployed in SIT, and then you deployed in UAT, right? Let's assume, the newer version missing some features, right? That will be an out of sync in your dev and SIT environment. When you go and check for something, then, or some QA team is validating something in SIT, it will be out of sync, right? So these are the common mistakes that we do. And apart from that, obviously, it depends on sometimes what happens. Some environments, let's say you are building a Java application through Maven, right? So some of the environments, Maven version is different. Then definitely your jar will not be able to deploy, because of that Maven version issue. Other than that, in terms of these middle layer technologies or Java, .NET technologies, I don't think so we will face of much of issues. But in terms of database, it will have huge differences. The objects might not be there. Sometimes we might miss the references. Let's say some procedure has some other procedure or a table reference involved, and we might miss to use that table in the newer version, and then definitely that will lead to failures.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, students.
Hello.
I think we are going to conclude our session. Mohan, I think your doubt has been cleared, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. You can mute your mic. Okay, we are going to conclude our session. I think it's really an interactive, really a very interactive session indeed. Many of our students have asked many doubts, and you, sir, you have cleared all their doubts. And the things you have mentioned in this particular interactive session are very much helpful to our students. As we have, as I have noticed, many of them are very much happy that their questions have been answered. You discussed about problem solving skills, how flexible a student must be to adapt the changes in the field they are going to enter or in their daily life in order to accustom to the things, new things in the technology, and how one should improve the problem solving skills. And especially you share your experiences, which are very much motivating for them. And also you gave the tips and techniques for facing the interview. So I hope many of our students have got what they have cherished the most through this interactive session. You patiently explained many things to them. Thank you very much for that. I hope all our students got what they need. Thank you very much, sir, for being part of this this interactive session and making our students a blissful and very much happy and in this COVID period, it is really needed for them because they cannot go out and see what is happening around. Through you, they have understood so many things how they should be. Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks, ma'am. I mean, it's always my pleasure to, talk to the students where I have graduated from, helping them from my experiences or what I know. It's my pleasure, sharing my experiences of talking to the students. So I just shared my email ID in the chat if someone has some questions, because it's a limited time, right? I might not be able to answer all of your questions. So if you have any other questions, if you want to know something, feel free to drop a mail on the given mail ID. I'll help you in whatever way I can.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you all.
Shiva. Thank you so much. We will be doing one more session in future also. Thank you so much.
Sure, ma'am. Sure.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Good day and all the best. Be healthy and be safe.
All of you give the meeting.
Yes. That concludes today's session. Ma'am, అయిపోయింది కదా?
Yeah, ma.
Okay, ma, you can leave the meeting.